Okay, so in this first topic, we're going to define what manual handling is and identify typical tasks that can cause injury. As you saw in the introduction, manual handling is most commonly associated with lifting, but there's a lot more to it than that. Manual handling is any activity that requires force when lifting, lowering, or carrying something. This can be as simple as lifting and carrying a milk crate and then putting it onto a counter, or it might involve carrying a heavy toolbox. Pushing or pulling an object. This could include pushing a wheelbarrow or pulling a pallet truck. Holding or restraining something. This might mean holding onto a heavy metal beam while it's being welded into place, or restraining an animal or heavy equipment. In New South Wales, many tree trimming crews report shoulder and back sprains and strains resulting from constantly holding and restraining heavy chainsaws. So manual handling is a term that covers a wide range of tasks, from holding up a kitchen cabinet while it's being screwed into place to moving folders in an office. By now, you may realise that manual handling activities don't just happen in heavy industry. In fact, they take place every day in almost all workplaces, including offices, where you may move a set of folders or rearrange office furniture. Hospitality, where it's common to stack shelves or move cartons and pallets of food. Manufacturing, mining or construction environments, when holding heavy items in place. And manual handling happens outside of the workplace too. Think about the tasks you do every day, like loading your shopping into the car or doing DIY maintenance around the house. Many of these tasks can lead to injury if not done correctly. These are just a few manual handling examples. The main thing to remember is that no matter where you work and what you do, you're likely to have to do some manual handling at times, and you must do this correctly. A common characteristic about the manual handling tasks we've discussed so far is that they all require you to exert some force to perform them. The fact that you're exerting force means there's a degree of risk involved with these kinds of manual handling tasks. For example, a common injury resulting from lifting an object that's too heavy is a strained back. The degree of risk changes depending on a number of factors. One of the most obvious is the type of object that's being moved and its weight. It's pretty clear that lifting a 50-kilogram box is going to put you at a higher risk of injury than moving a 2-kilogram box. Another factor that affects the risk of the move is you, the person moving it. For example, it's fair to say that a fit, young, strong person is going to be at less risk of harm if they perform a lift correctly than a frail, elderly person. Many other factors, like your physical ability and condition, any prior injuries and medication, are all areas that can influence how safe it is for you to move a load. In later topics, we'll talk about ways of moving objects that don't require you to exert force, like using a forklift. These can lower the risk of injury. Okay, so that's the end of the first topic, and you should know that manual handling is much more than lifting and includes actions like restraining and pushing items. It occurs in almost all workplaces, and that various factors, like the weight and size of an object, will affect the level of risk and probability of injury when carrying out the manual handling task.